Can you believe this?
Hey, would you, are you gonna be cool here?
Yeah, what?
Cause I'm sorry if we're like disturbing you or something.
No.
I mean, I normally do this on Tuesday and Thursday nights here, but, if you were interested, I would offer you $20, if it would be more convenient for you to move, I would offer you $20.
No, I'm good.
Are you good? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, and I could help you move.
No,
If it would be more
I'm
convenient
good.
for
I
you.
don't like people touching my shit.
Oh, I understand. So, yeah, so you'll be good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Red alert!
Test. Happy Friday, everyone. It is October 24th, 2025. This is episode 41 of the 4K Skywatching Podcast. This is the only podcast out there like this that actively goes out, hunts, studies the footage, and brings you the results. What we do with me and the people I work with is pretty damn expensive. We have a budget of crazy money that we spend on this. Is on par with a pretty damn good funded television show. Last night, most of us were in Sedona, skywatching. I haven't even had time to look at the results that I shot. We'll get into that. There's a 2 hour and 20-minute clip that was rendering all night. Took like 13 or 14 hours to assemble all these clips from this camera into one 2.5 hour shot. And I'm going to upload that after the show into the member section so they can watch it and tell me, is there anything in there that's worth saving? I haven't had time to look at it. So that's how the audience can help too. If you don't have time to go out and skywatch, you can help filter through the footage that we have incoming. We can have so much footage that we just don't have time to sit down and properly look at it because we're on to the next one. Tonight, the show is going to get into mostly the helicopter ride that happened last Saturday. And then Thursday, last night, we were in Sedona in a couple different spots. So I do know Clive got some footage. I'll go into a little bit of that footage. I have some new gear that just arrived this morning. I wish I had it last night because I could have put it to the test. I did try some summoning of UFOs while I was out there, but that didn't go too well. As you heard in the beginning of the clip, hey, here's $20, scram. Nobody orders me around. And then also a clip from Mario Vallejo. He sent over a 5-minute clip of whole new stuff that wasn't shown on the last episode. So bump that up to 4K. We're going to take a look at that at the end of the show. So make sure you stick around for that. This is the only show like this out here that does live reporting on Skywatches. That's pretty much the focus here, is on hard evidence, on video footage. We look deeply into this stuff. I really don't care about, gossip and other stuff. There's channels out there that do that really well, and I'm not trying to replicate them. I'm doing my own thing. So I got about 30 minutes with the media tonight. Thanks for being here, Truth Seeker, again. Yeah. Hey, and there is the man himself. Man, I should have had you come in as a guest. Now, I did reach out to 4 different people since the past podcast. Various people, you probably wouldn't even guess at who these people are. They're not typical Skywatchers on the radar. I'm not going to give their names away because I'm waiting to hear back from them. I don't think I'm going to hear back from them. I'll get into a few more episodes down the road because, I don't hold back stuff. I'm eventually going to tell you who these people are. These people have shot really good footage, and I want them to come forward, to either come on my podcast or to come forward with their face and their name with this footage. And what we can do is cement this into ufology. I will fly to wherever the hell they live and investigate it, firsthand. Now, their footage has been released. You've seen their footage on past episodes of 4K Skywatching, but we don't know who these people are. So I'm trying to basically uncover this. So they went to a point where they released their footage. Some of them have released their name and where they're at, but they haven't got to the point where they want to go on camera yet. So I'm looking into that. That's one thing. One thing I reached out is a guy who summons UFOs. I've been wanting to do a show called The Summoners, that go into the history of people who summon UFOs, going back to Egyptian type areas where people were in contact with this type of stuff or thought they were, up to modern day summoners, and go through, does anybody have this ability? Because if they do, it's really, really important. And this is something I kind of close myself off to. There's a lot of stuff I believe in ufology, but I have a limit. There's some stuff, I have a fine-tuned bullshit detector. And there's a lot of stuff I consider bullshit, but when I see it with my own eyes and I'm there, it's more real. In tonight's example of the chopper stuff, this was hard to digest. Is this real? Is this UAP? Is this explainable? And then it happened to me on a cinema camera, a $3,000 camera I captured a UAP last Saturday. We'll show that later. It goes by really quick, but we go into the weeds with this. So yeah, Dan is responsible for this. I don't know. He can type in the chat. How many trips have you done, Dan? 11 or 12 trips in the helicopter. And we're talking, it's about $1,000 a pop. So this guy spent more money on helicopter skywatching than, most people do on equipment in total. I mean, I think he wipes his butt with 20s. I don't follow him to the bathroom, but I think he loses money left and right. He spends money like crazy. Now, out of the 11 trips he's done, he has gotten UAP on at least 4 of them, maybe 5. So his percentage there is pretty clear cut. Even a stupid person could figure this out. You got 10 trips. You got 4 UAPs on those trips. That's 40%. That is huge. That's a huge number. Aside from Dan and team, we all work together. The only person or the group that does this is Skinwalker Ranch with Brandon Frugal's brother's a helicopter pilot. So a billionaire, and this group is the only people that hunt UFOs with a helicopter. I don't count Jake Barber because those people are on some. They're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart to figure this out. They're getting paid, And they don't skywatch, at least the way we do, because we're looking down at the ground to see UFOs looking down instead of up. And it's a weird way to skywatch, but man, I'm convinced. It works. I can't believe it does, but it just shows, like I've said before on the show, there is a lot of UAP activity above. We have to have the cameras to pull this evidence out of the sky, put it on our micro SD cards, and publish it. But this technique of skywatching is crazy. So we have a pretty good hit range. Clive showed me a couple of clips that he captured last night. But let's get into the chopper stuff first. So let me get this queued up. So what we're going to look at here, 8 times. You've been in the chopper 8 times, and you got 4 different clips. We're going to look at those clips as a refresher course on what Dan has found. Now, he has found UAPs flying around at thousands of miles an hour, and he's got them going in and out of mountains. So is there an underground base in this area? We don't know. But I'm going to show you tonight where this is, because this is where I want to put up my range camera and keep this area under watch. The only problem is it's so freaking remote. How do you get in this area? 1. And 2, do you have any cell phone signals? Because if you don't, you can't operate the camera at all, because it operates off that. So thinking about leaving the trail camera in there. Yes, he has. Dan, if he wants to, can go into that. When he took a helicopter trip from Scottsdale up to Sedona, was about 5 weeks ago, and back, he had GPS dropouts at certain fault lines. That's an area where Dan, I'm not even an expert, Dan is, but he had fault line drops with GPS. So I think he was looking for that on this trip. So what amazes me is we go to this area and he's like, okay, we finally got to the area he wants to study by the Superstition Mountains. Circle it. So we did maybe 6, 7 circles. As soon as we got to that area, that's when I recorded this. Now that just don't happen, man. I've had, I don't know how many television crews come over here in Skywatch, and they're always hoping a UFO shows up during the Skywatch, but it never really happens. And then the next day, I've had that happen with Bubba, when they leave, the thing shows up. So for this, to go out on a trip, to say, this is where it's at, I film it, I'm an independent person with my camera system, I got it, I email them, hey, we got something. We got another one of these. Now, Dan's got 2 other cameras, right? So he has the door off on the helicopter, and he's filming out the door. Because when I was filming, I was thinking, what about reflections in the glass? Because it was reflecting like my shirt and stuff like that. So I was worried about that, like false positives. But when you're filming out the door, there's no glass. That rules it out. So he has a camera mounted on underneath the helicopter. It's looking forward, 4K GoPro. And then he has another camera that he's shooting with his hand. So there is a possibility that the one I videotaped, I'm going to show you in about 20 minutes, when we get to that, was picked up on his cameras too. So we might have a 2 or 3 camera capture of this high-speed UAP cruising through this mountain valley. So this is a preliminary report tonight, and we'll dig into the weeds, and I'll have to sync up all this video and find out. So we just go out and film, observe. If we find anything, we report it. We look at it. We don't need to wait 5 years to have a peer-reviewed freaking paper come out, and by then it's not even relevant, right? If we find a hot spot and we talk about what good's the hot spot 5 years after the fact. So we're doing this different. Somebody needs to, and the job needs to be done, and we're doing that job. So I'm going to go into the helicopter clip. What this is going to show is 2 beautiful helicopters. The one we flew in is a 2023, so it's only got 2 years on it. It's got low miles, but high miles on UAP footage. So we got in that, took off, and second time I was in a helicopter. The other time I had one was in Kauai for like a wedding gift we gave herself. We flew around the Nepali coast, and I always have a huge smile on my face. Who the F does not like flying around in a helicopter? So just thanks to Dan Starsky, we have this clip. Let's view it.
This big again. Oh no, it was bigger than a golf ball, smaller than a baseball. I mean, yeah, the last one came through on Friday ago. I think not terrible, but I'll be they're gonna pay me lots of money to do whatever. Anyway, keep an eye on that stuff right there. I'm gonna roll out slow here. Where'd you put that other camera at, Dan?
I got it on my, I sent it out there.
Oh, okay.
We're about to go up in the helicopter, and it's going to be a good time. Looking at Scottsdale Airport right there. That's where the rich have their private jets.
Fucking A.
I wanted to go to the SEALs to get back in my next later, and my
Yeah, this is the area where it happened. It's pretty treacherous to even walk through here. It flew by right there. You probably blinked and missed it, but I'll replay it. This area, for some reason, they fly extremely low. You can see saguaro cactuses in the distance. Those are about a foot around and about 15 feet high. A million mines, or not mines, caves in this rock. And if you climb up, there's probably artifacts that other people left a long time ago. I think the Apache Indians had hideouts in some of these places. That's why this area is called Apache Junction, because of the Apaches. Indians, I don't know the lore that good. Some of the people on AJ know it better. Here in town, we call Apache Junction the place where Trans-Ams get put on cement blocks because you don't want to, you have to. It's the law. So this is basically just a quick overview, time lapse of the entire trip to give you an idea. So we just kind of fly out to the location and do some circles, and then we head back. This video was shot by my new GoPro Max 2. This camera just came out like this month, like 3 weeks ago, so I'm just getting used to it and going through the honeymoon with it. With this camera, you have 8K combined, so it records forward and backward. So you could pick what angle you want. We could have a forward angle, a back angle, a down angle, a side angle. So this is a great camera for B-roll. If we put it under the helicopter, it would film forward, backwards, left, and right. So it might be a better contender for another helicopter trip to use down there. But I wasn't sure of it because I just got the dang thing and I'm learning it. So I did get it to work inside the chopper, and it is does run off a phone. So that camera that you're seeing in use here, we'll film them, our adventures, so we can take the public along with and show them, this. We have an active hot zone in Arizona. We're doing everything we can to go out and report on it, Skywatch, and get the footage back to people on a timely basis. Yeah, kind of a little low on some of these. I think one of these, Dan's like, I think this last one here, he's like, hey, are you going to turn? He's like, yeah, I'll turn. Pilot's name is Chris, real wonderful guy. And yeah, he lets, okay, I'll turn at the last minute. Turn. Yeah. And yeah, it's real cool hovering, because when you hover, then you hear us chop, 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 chop real loud. And we had to hover in order to wait our turn to land. So that was the gist of the chopper trip. It was an hour up, and about 30 minutes in is when I recorded something. So let's show you where this is. Nope, I got the wrong thing here. Steve there. All right, that's in the last show. All right, so what we're looking at is flight radar 24, and this shows the entire trip. So this is when you take off, and this is going to show the chopper, and this is all from the ADS-B that's on the on the helicopter. So we scroll through here, and here is the hot spot. It's on Buzzard Roost. At least that's where I filmed this UAP. So as soon as we came in here and turned, I filmed it immediately, and it was somewhere in this area. I'm not exactly sure, because after a while, these mountains start looking the same, and it's just like I see a peak. So I have to nail this down. It doesn't matter exactly the area, because these things are traveling at thousands of miles an hour. So it's going to fly through this whole thing in 2 to 3 seconds. But this area in general is the area that Dan's been studying, that now, this is on my radar now. Now I want to know more about this. So yeah, we did some loop-de-loops there. So this is the area over here is the Superstition Mountains. So there's some other sub-mountains over here. In Queen Valley, Dan is actually building another house because he needs extra kitchens for his stuff. So he's building another house over here. So he's a perfect location to keep that under watch. He also has UFODAP and a thermal camera. I helped him get that set up a couple weeks ago, but I'm not sure if he's still got the UFODAP part figured out. But at this location, he's going to train a camera over in that area and just let UFODAP start collecting folders on it. And then he can have fun going through that. Now, I ran, not my thermal camera, but I ran my Dahoo 50-32 camera. And I ran overnight, and I woke up the next morning and turned the thing off. It had 1,070 folders it recorded in about 8 hours. I'm not looking through that. I'm probably going to delete that. But that's UFODAP. It's going to collect. But we're talking all kinds of stars and weird stuff in aircraft. Where Dan is, you can set that up and you can tweak the adjustment so it's only going to trigger on certain things. So that's the area where Dan is looking that we went to. Let's look at the on Google Maps. So we're looking at this area over here. My mouse isn't really showing up, but this valley right here at Buzzard Roost, this whole area is heavy concentration of UAP activity, and we have the film of it. We have the film of these things. Now, a lot of people report activity, but they don't have any films of it. They have accidental stories of, so-and-so saw it, or a percentage of people in this area see UFOs, and you always hear these stories. But the public wants to see the goddamn video. We all do, right? Well, the people watching this channel are not questioning if UFOs are real. They believe UFOs are real. And so do we. Most of us have when we first seen one, right? We don't need the government to tell us they're real. Be nice if they came on the record and showed the thousands and thousands of videos they collected of this that they're keeping classified. So far, we're seeing the boat parade almost every few days. The administration blows up a boat, and we get to see it immediately. It goes up on whatever, they put that out. And I looked at one of those boats, and they had 25 50-gallon drums, because I'm like, how do they get from there up to here? They got to stop for gas. No, they have a gas station in the boat. And it looks like, if you study it carefully, how they're blowing up these boats. Are they using UFO weapons on these things? Because they're not dropping like hellfires on them and blowing the whole thing to smithereens. Some of them live from some of these. But the point is we get to see these videos day after day after day. But when the Pentagon collects today's UAP video, we can't see that. So there's some freaking there that they're sitting on a trove of probably, I'd say, into the tens of thousands of videos that they've collected in the last 80 years that they're sitting on. And they almost show us the shit. So our reality is carefully constructed by the Pentagon of what they want to show us, what they want us to think, what they won't show us. Because if they showed us those 10,000 videos, then maybe people would just take this, they wouldn't go, oh yeah, a Hellfire intercepted a missile. Back to those Kardashians, back to Taylor Swift, they might say, you know what, F Taylor Swift, we can't pay the rent anymore. electricity's too high, and these things are flying around. However, they're doing it thousands of miles an hour, and a technology we don't have. It's hard to get this unlocked because billionaires own the media of every country. They have no interest in letting the UAP cat out of the bag to screw up their holy dollar and their stock prices and whatnot. And the only way they'll even consider it is if they personally, like Bigelow, buy a tilt-up somewhere and get these things themselves for themselves to keep. But they at no time want to share this with the rest of us. But we do that here. Let's look into the past. Let's give you some overview of what has been collected from that area by our team. This will be Dan talking. This is the first one where he was flying out to a copper mine that they strip mine out about Miami Globe. They've been on the news lately because of floods and shit. He's flying out there, UAP just flies right past him. You can't even calculate. It's thousands of miles per hour.
Okay, here's on the flight to Haunted Canyon. We just had went past 2, possibly 3 UAPs, and we get a flash right there. See that little dot right there? Now it's moving back toward the mine dump, the little white dot, and it's going to go move up the hill farther. Then it's almost to that V in the ridge line. That's where it first shows up. It starts there. So show it again. So here in a couple seconds, it'll shoot by there. Got it slow motion. It's still fast. Right there, it's coming through. So that's a fraction of a second. It's going to do it again. I got a repeat. Right there. Just went through. So that was that's possibly the 4th UAP that we saw at that flight there within 10 minutes, 5 minutes. We're getting ready we're still headed east here, and you can see the mine dumps up there. There's the copper mines, and we're going to take a swing wide right and go up Haunted Canyon.
Remember Sesame Street, the count? That's one. One UAP. Ah, ha, ha, ha. So that's one. Now let's get to next group. This is a group of them. 2 of them, one of them looks like it came out of a mountain or a cliff. Another one is flying by. So in these clips, when you watch these clips from helicopters, you don't really see anything. So you don't see birds. There's thousands and thousands of birds below us, but you don't see them because they are out of range. But what we see is these white UAPs. We can get a size estimate that they're about the size of the helicopter themselves. I'm going to look at some stuff in AI in a little bit.
Okay, back on the same Anubis Cyrus video. I thought I saw a glimpse of so it comes across almost the top of that Anubis's head. Should be coming up here shortly here. There it is. It's going through the top of his head now, and then across that gully into that mountain. It kind of gets redirected a hair. Now it's going into the Wasp Scepter and right toward us in the helicopter. As they steer in to get pointed directly at us, one came out. Right there. See it come out? That was about the same spot the big one did. Now it gets redirected too. Trajectory is slightly different when it comes out the mountain, out the hill there. So what caused that? Is that how and he just zones out. And that's that. We got a glimpse of that tube. Here it is right here. So it's coming out and boom, he's gone, but we got a glimpse of it.
Here's repeated a little bit.
Big one came out. Right there. See it come out? That was about
that comes right out of that thing.
Now it gets redirected too. Trajectory is slightly different when it comes out the mountain, out the hill there. So what caused that? Is that how they...
So that was another video courtesy of Dan Starsky. He's got all kinds of stuff like this. If you're on Facebook, think he's going to drop a link here, but I'll have it up in the description. He's got all kinds of videos that aren't on here. If you want to do a deeper dive, check out all the people that I work with here. Check out Clive and his videos. He's a filmmaker, and he films UAPs too. So does Dan Starsky, so does Chris Donnell. And man, when Chris films UAPs, he goes to town. I showed you in the past episode where he was on portals that he's filmed. Green orbs, a blue orb, 50 feet away. Now, if this stuff was on News Nation, this is the best. I saw News Nation. Ross Coldheart said, this is the best video I've ever seen. I watched it going, all right, what do we got here? And it looks like something I filmed at Sedona, like it could be a satellite. I'm like, man, Ross, you really need to get over here. We got the goods on stuff. I can't imagine how he'd hype some of the material that we got. Let's look. I looked at Dan's video pretty closely. I pushed it into 8K until we were too far and then backed off. Here's a little bit more of that thing flying out of that mountain. Look at Skinwalker Ranch. I like that show. I got a friend who works on it, Dave Mason. They're out shooting another episode, right? They're shooting another season. And they're doing stuff just like we are. My point here is they have that chopper clip where that one comes into the ground and then out. They spent how much money going into that, just that piece, that what's in the mesa? You have to say that on the show or you get edited out. I want to find out what's in that mesa. And I mean, that's kind of the show. And then cut to, Eric Bard with a who farted look, we could cut that in too. Yeah, there you go. Dan has dropped his Facebook link there. I'll have that up in the description later. Thanks, Dan. Ross hypes the shit out of stuff, doesn't he? He really does. What the hell happened? Okay. Not really bright there for a second when Facebook popped up. So my point is this area where this object comes out of the ground where Dan films, what if you had a billionaire here? Well, first of all, they'd have to say, I own that piece of property. UAPs only come on my land and not the neighbor. And speaking to Skinwalker, according to Joe Murga, I saw a report from him. There's a company that owns a piece of land next to Skinwalker, and they have oil there. So they want to start drilling for oil. So they're saying this would wreck the entire show, right? Because the vibrations from constant drilling would screw up, I guess, the karma or whatever the hell they're doing at Skinwalker. What they really need to do is just get a backhoe in there and dig that goddamn thing out. It can be done in a couple of months. I know when Brandon Frugal makes like a new high rise, because I've worked on these things, and I kind of miss that. I drive by them and I go, I would be in that building if I wasn't programming in here. So they dig down usually somewhere between 3 and 4 stories, depending on the height of the building, and then they take I-beams and they pound them in the ground, usually like 100 feet, and they weld and pound and weld and pound. I had that job. That job sucks. So they can remove a lot of material pretty fast. So anyway, get on a tangent there. Usually happens. So that's Skinwalker. So let's look at this area. What if a billionaire owned this piece of ground, this piece of mountain? Would they dig it up? What's in this mesa?
The big one came out right there. See it come out? That was about.
So that's coming out of this mountain. Came out of that sheer cliff. There's no video of it before. This is the second UAP Dan had. There was 2 of them in this particular clip. And then it flies. We're thinking they might be flying through mountains. Did it fly? There it is again. It becomes visible. Did it fly through that mountain? I mean, this was heavily enhanced to bring out whatever that object is. But yeah, that's UAP footage shot from a chopper. Now, let's go into what I shot. So as soon as they did the curve, this thing shoots by real quick. So I think I got maybe 19 frames, so not even quite a second of it. It becomes clear as it goes by. So we're going to look at the clip a few times. It's going to roll so you can look at it. Then we're going to zoom in on it. And then we're going to look at it in Topaz AI at the individual frames, the best frames. We'll take a little bit of a deep dive on that tonight. So this is the clip. It shoots from left to right through that valley. And here it is slowed down. So you can't see this on a phone. So this is not a phone show. This is a show where you watch on your big screen. So you see that white object flying by. This is exactly the type of phenomenon. I think this is at least sighting 4, if not higher. I mean, Dan's keeping tally. But that thing flies by through this valley. Here's a zoom on it, watching this thing go. This isn't a bird. I mean, this is flying by these mountain peaks at hundreds, if not thousands, of miles an hour. It's a white phosphorus type of object. If you blink, you will literally not see these things. Birds don't go that fast. If you look at the size of this, you can see it's under us, and where the helicopter elevation is on that map I just showed you. So if you look at the size of this, down there is a saguaro cactus on the ground. And those cactuses are at least 1 foot thick, and they go up to around 12 to 15 or so feet high. If you look at this UAP, it's as thick as that cactus, if not thicker. So we're looking at something that's 3, maybe 6 feet, possibly bigger. And then here at the end, you could see these bushes below it. You can see it's probably 60 feet off the ground. I can't see a shadow. This is extremely high detailed Panasonic GH5S camera, recording at 150 megabit a second. So here's another strange thing out of the collection. I don't know what this is, but it's flying fast, and it matches the exact type of objects that Dan has filmed before that I just showed you. And we get to this area, he's like, let's circle here. And as soon as we do, this flies by. So when does that ever happen? When you're out hunting and you say the UFOs always come over here, and the damn thing does. And we got a 4K camera to boot on it. So that's what I got. It's 19 frames. It's quick. I don't like videos like this. I like stuff that you can see and follow along and zoom in. You know, like a lot of the material that Mario has. You're sitting there, you see it with the naked eye, you get the camera, you zoom in. And man, he had a hell of a zoom on that camera. He still does, 360 power. But that didn't happen. We're just filming out the window, looking for this type of stuff. Then we go through the footage and we see if it happens. There shouldn't be anything flying by like that. When you watch the rest of the footage, maybe I'll upload it to the member section. We'll see. You don't see anything like that until you get to this one part. Then you go, okay, what the hell is this? So I don't know. I mean, what debunker is just going to say, well, this is a bird. How many goddamn helicopters have you flown in with a 4K camera? Do you do this on a regular basis? No. These people just they have one play, and they play it on every single person. That I'm smarter than that person. That's what they do. That person is a dumbass, whether it's a pilot, F-16, whether it's this helicopter pilot, myself with all the experience. Dan, they don't care. Air traffic controllers, y'all get thrown under the bus. You're a dumbass. You don't know what you're doing. Me, Mr. Armchair Guy sitting here, knows more than you, who never left his fucking mom's basement, right? That's debunkers in a nutshell. So that's what I got on that. Let's check out Topaz. Let's look at some of the best frames of this. If you just tune in, this is 4K Skywatching. We just went through some helicopter footage. This is a regular thing that we do here in the show. We go out, we hunt, report back, see what is going on, and report on other UAP news. If there's other Skywatchers out there that are doing this, come on the show. Let's trade some notes. Let's find out patterns in your footage that we have in my footage. We are now in a new era of ufology where we're jaded, man. We're sitting here and going, well, disclosure is dead on a congressional level. And I've been saying that for a while. Carl Nell came out and said that. There's a bunch of people saying, nah. You know, they've been saying this for 6 or 7 years. I mean, we had these hearings, right? So at least we got that new CIA footage that came out of the Hellfire missile and the UAP. But we don't know if that's real. We don't have any chain of of custody for that. That's just a goddamn drop. So that's about the best thing that came out of it. We had a few witness testimonies. Where the hell is the testimony of Jake Barber at these hearings? Where's Carl Nell? Where's G. Stratton? Where's these people that say, I have been inside a UAP? There's 3 or 4. Jake's the first-hand guy. G. Stratton is. I think Carl Nell. These are not people who heard about a program like David Grush. These are people who worked in the program, and they ain't saying nothing. They ain't testifying. And we got guys eating top ramen, Dylan Border testifying, So what the fuck? But it's dead, right? But we can't. Who cares? It was never really alive anyway. For the noobs who got into this after the New York Times came out and started podcasts and all that, this is new to them. So this is their honeymoon on congressional hearings. And they think, hey, we're making progress. Make it small, incremental progress. If you've been doing this for 3 decades, and going back to the 90s when George Knapp's hair was brown, you would say, hey, man, I've been there. I've seen that before. Look at it this way. I should have a graph of this, but I don't. Look at the amount of time we had on these UFO congressional hearings, and then compare that in the past of other congressional hearings, like the 9/11 investigation. How many days did that go, right? The January 6th thing, they spent 500 days investigating that. Iran-Contra, I think that was 365 days or so. Some of these investigations that Congress does, it just goes on and on and on. They have a special committee, a select committee that does this, and that's all they seem to do. They're elected and they run on this for a year. I think the Benghazi thing, whatever the hell happened with that went on, right? UFOs, 3 fucking hours. Not even a full day, right? So compare 3 hours versus Iran-Contra and all that. This isn't taken seriously. Why? Because the billionaires that control the media in this Western country keep it that way. If they wanted this out, they would have on programs nonstop talking about this to convince the public, to get the ball rolling, to get mass hysteria that some invasion or something's coming, we're all freaking in danger, something to get this on the radar so they start talking about UFOs day after day after day after day in Congress. These fucking hearings for 3 hours are show for re-election to say, look, I fought the government, right? How many of these people went up to Mr. President Trump and say, hey, the aliens are here? None, right? Because if it doesn't come from him, it ain't going to happen. And maybe the only way this can happen is if they tell the aliens they got a lot of fucking gold in these spaceships and you can get a cut. Something transactional so he can get his take. Maybe he'll be interested. Otherwise, he doesn't give a fuck. If there's not anything in it for him, he doesn't care. But at least there's that, right? So maybe some people can at least tell him that. With that other president, that last guy, he actually was the worst president that we've had in my lifetime on disclosure. We had absolutely fucking nothing done with that shit. If anything, there were pronouns made for the aliens, nothing more. So at least back to getting rid of that, there's possible progress with Trump. I think this guy's like a special weird president what you got. And if he doesn't do it and we go back to the norm and somebody else comes in, like let's say Gavin Newsom comes in, nothing. AOC, nothing. Even J.D. Vance, nothing. I don't see none of these people because it's not going to help them. That's the bottom line. So they can't control us. They can't control this. They can't control these skies and our collection efforts. At least we have this. At least we have control of our stuff. So this is Topaz back. Another goddamn rant there. All right, so this is Topaz software, and we are looking at this object that flew through. So I have all the frames loaded down here. It takes a couple of seconds for the software to look at them. So I'm going to give you a tip. This is another way of doing enhancements on UAP. You take the video and you spill out the frames in like NP point, the MPEGs, right? So you do that and then you blow this up save all these frames, repackage it in a video editor into a moving clip, even though this is going to be really damn short. I know that's the go-to that some people do. So that the end clip is when we've seen the best resolution, right around here. Let's go examine this and upscale this into, I think we're upscaling here into 12K. Yeah. And take a look at this. Re-aim target. So this is what's flying by at like 800, this thing. So in all the images I see, there's a brown spot in the middle, and there's this white area here. So this is the imagery that we're consistently getting out of whatever this high-speed object is. In Dan's video, the object was a bit farther away, so we didn't get much graphics to work with. But this gives us at least a clue of what the hell these type of objects are that are flying at high speed. Again, we have this line that goes through this object, whatever it is. And actually, to tell you the truth, it looks like a moth. It looks organic since we're seeing this. This looks like something that maybe is alive. And could it be a bird? I mean, I'm looking at all the alternatives. Could this be a seagull? I doubt it, because we're not seeing, we don't really have seagulls. If we do, they go around our 3 or 4 little lakes that we have here. I don't think so. I don't know what this is, but the evidence of this looks organic, and some of the shots. Typical, no detail in the UAP. But here's one thing that we can get out of this. You can look at the size of this and you look at the pixels. Then you can look at these bushes down here. Over here is a saguaro cactus. So those 3 pixels right there are 1 foot. So each pixel is approximately 4 or 5 inches per pixel. So this thing right here is about 20. So we're looking at something between 3 and 6 foot. Because you can look at these saguaros on the ground. And this is not a bird. A bird wouldn't even register if it was flying, because there's not enough pixels to show up. That's my take on the chopper footage here. Okay, so I don't think it's a bird. Close details look like it could be organic. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's catch up and before we move to the next section. Yeah, you and me both. I'm building in the backyard a shed that's going to go next to the radar pole, and that's where my arcade machine is going to go. And the entire thing costs me nothing. When I'm off work, I go and donate some blood. They pay pretty good, actually. You sit there on your phone, doom scrolling, you're done. Here's a check. Or here's a debit card. Take the debit card over to Home Depot, throw some wood in the back of the truck, come home, work. So it's billed as I bleed. So as I bleed and give them their blood, which hopefully saves somebody's life, I get a shed out of it, and arcade, and a little bit funny because I can't afford all this. And I know Dan can't either. He's up in I think the $20,000 a year club. Hey, Mr. Cold, I'm cold. Yeah, I'll tell you, it was freaking cold last night in Sedona. It's probably like in the 80s here right now. And Sedona was dropped down to 53. So I'm sitting there going, oh, shit. Stabilization will take out the shake. But let's get to that next. We're going to go into the Sedona section. So let's check the comments. The ridgeline over Osiris. It figures. That name. That figures that name. Yeah, you need to teach me more about the ridgeline. I want to take this thing which I showed on other episodes, and deploy this little camouflage 4K owl. It just needs this works off a SIM card. So this is entirely cell phone. If there's no cell phone signal, you can't communicate with it, but it will record the stuff on the SD card. So when you go in and go next to it, you can then retrieve it. I want to put that to use. That was like $400 sitting around doing goddamn nothing. Yes, they are for show. They're cool. I mean, who doesn't like to see them? It gets on the record. It helps destigmatize this. So you could say, hey, this is you guys at work at the water cooler, if anybody still has an office. Do you see this congressional hearing stuff? Because it shows you this isn't crazy. I think we passed that. I think somewhere during the pandemic, the stigma just kind of melted where people like, you know what? Fucking Trump's president, pandemic, which we never thought. We got shit happening from movies. UFOs are probably real. Everyone thinks maybe the aliens are coming. When AI is already out of control, it wouldn't surprise me if Godzilla came out of the fucking Pacific Ocean and stepped on Japan. I would like, you know what? Half the shit that we've seen in these movies is now coming true. It's not supposed to. We're in a weird timeline. We shifted sometime around 2016 when CERN did that weird experiment. Everything like our timeline cracked. We got in this timeline. We were living in a different one, but now we're in this one. And hopefully this timeline contains the UFOs, catastrophic disclosure, whatever you want to call it. UFOs, even if they fly in front of us. Look at Chris Donald's footage. He's got some of the best goddamn orb footage I've ever seen, and hardly any views. It's like, what the fuck? We went into his house and investigated it. Those orbs that he's filming were right in front of him. That's real footage, and it's probably ongoing because he's got 2025 footage. That's right. George Carlin was a prophet, wasn't he? Poor guy died before his time. Yeah, it does look like a rod, Mario. It does. I was friends with Jose. I knew him. His friend, his protege, Jeff Ferris, is still around. He has a YouTube channel. He's a professional skater. He dropped into the chat maybe 3-4 months back, and he filmed a lot of these rods too. So let's get into Sedona. Let's check the cameras real quick. So these are live surveillance cameras that I have. This is the radar camera. The government shut down. I can run the radar anytime I want because they can't do a goddamn thing about that. All right, so Sedona. So last night, drove up to Sedona and sat down in a spot. That's more like it. Sat down in a spot. There's a rock there. I'm old. I got back problems. I got sciatica going down my right leg, and my back screwed up. So when I unload gear, that's it. That's the Skywatch. I am not loading that shit back in the car and moving and unloading it again. You know, you don't march your soldiers up a hill and march them back down for nothing. So anyway, in 2 weeks, I'm going in to have that fixed. What they do is it's called RFA, radio frequency ablation, where they stick something hot in your back and burn your nerves off so you don't feel it. They grow back in about a year. I had it done last year and around when I started the Skywatch. And yeah, I was able to go back to a normal life without the back issue. So anyway, I unload all the shit, which is only 4 cameras. So I travel light. No table, no computers, no 100-foot extension cord or electricity, none of that stuff. Just a P1000, Panasonic GH5S, AVS7, and Luna Optics. So this was my camera of choice. So I put this up, started filming, and just let it roll for 2.5 hours. I got that clip done. It's getting uploaded in the member section. I don't know if there's anything on, right? So I'm sitting there, and It's at night. It's pretty pitch black with no moon. So I'm sitting there, and this truck comes barreling down the road. You'll hear it in the audio, I think. And these guys get out and they start setting up all this stuff. And so I'm sitting there. And I'm like, it was 7, totally dark, and I'm going to get outside my safety zone and to try and summon a UFO. Why not? You have nothing to lose. So I'm sitting here. It's calm. There's no one there. I start meditating. I'm thinking about a red orb. Like, can we get a red orb here? Because Dan and Clive Starsky and Clive Christopher are at another location a few miles down the road at the Bradshaw Ranch location, right? So if anything shows up with me, we can text each other and say, hey, we have a target to film. So I'm sitting there trying this meditation. And this car comes barreling down the road, and I'm like, what? And it has to stop. There's a dead end. So it slams. These 2 guys get out. They start talking. Their name is Chad and Jeff. And Chad runs this, right? I have no idea who the hell these people are. They don't know who the hell I am. And they can't even see me because I'm sitting in the dark. They started unloading all these chairs. Chad is a new hire, apparently. Jeff is telling him, here's all this stuff. They start talking about Melinda Leslie and how much money she makes and has and stuff like that. And I'm like, is this Melinda Leslie's setup? Because she sets up around here. I met her. She's a really nice lady and an excellent Skywatcher. So I'm like, that's cool if she shows up. She didn't. This guy shows up. He gets tables. He gets a big screen TV out. And I'm like, and he's sitting right in the direction where, like, the Lunoptics is pointing. And I'm sitting there going, 2.5 hours to fucking drive up here. Fuck. And I kind of didn't want to go because I had something incoming in the mail. I had a camera incoming that attaches to the PVS-7. So I'm like, I can't film with the PVS-7. And I never really used it. I used it a couple of times around here, but I don't want to burn the thing up. So this guy gets up, starts putting all this stuff out, and apparently he can't get these tables himself. He needs help to get out folding tables. I don't know. So anyway, he says 11 people are showing up. So all these people, at first, he walks up to me. He goes, yeah, I didn't see you over there. It's like he was shining a light in my face and my gear for a long time. Kind of rude. He comes up and he goes, hey, we're doing this stuff. You'll hear it. I had it in the intro of the show. How about $20? You pack up your stuff and leave. And I know this guy's pulling in $1,000 in about, 2 hours, 3 hours max. $20? Why should I leave? I was here an hour before you guys, and this is a park. This is for everybody. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Just do your thing. Do your thing. And he's like, I'll give you 20. I'll help you move it. And I'm sitting here with $12,000 worth of equipment, right? And some of it's open. And I told him, I don't want nobody touching my shit. And I said it nicely. I don't like nobody touching my shit. Now, I didn't say, I don't want nobody touching my shit. With emphasis on that shit and shit. Didn't do that. It was cool. He takes off. These people come out, and he's charging them $150 a piece. These people all from out of town to look at the stars. And he's using a green laser all over the place. I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't use this PVS-7 now because if you have a laser, Dave Mason told me, and it goes in the front of this, you just fried the most important part. See, the rest of this, the entire PVS-7 you can get for a couple $100. It's the part inside, the tube, that costs $3,000 or more. So bring that up. So I'm like, I can't use it here. Shit. I can't meditate with all this. I'm pretty laid back, happy-go-lucky. This is roll. Fuck it. If the UFO is going to show up, it's going to show up, right? With these people or not. So Chad did his thing. And if you guys want to move to Sedona, move there. Set up a business, portals, fuck it. Portals, right? And you put up a website, you charge them $50 starting out, undercut the competition, then move it up to $100 when you get booked. You start pulling in $1,000 every 2 hours, then maybe have a regular job, somewhere else. That's what these people are doing. And they're pulling in sometimes $20,000, $30,000 a month off tourism. Just insane. While the rest of us, are Got to give up blood and shit to get a shed made. Shit like that. Even Dan, the helicopter man, even he needs some funding. Well, we got here. Interesting. The GPS thing could be that they're screwing with space-time, with gravity. That's put in the GPS position away. The one thing that in Skinwalker Ranch you always have problems with is GPS. And a lot of them are going under the ground. So at this point, I would remove these companies. And also, I hate to say it, take out Travis, maybe leave Eric, and the whole crew, get in a fresh crew of 5 new guys, and repeat all the experiments with entirely different companies, keep Brandon Frugal out of it, and keep a third party in charge to see, can we repeat this with different people? If it's repeatable, then you got some good signs to repeat the hypothesis that there's something in that mesa. If you just keep using the same guys and they kind of have to say, what's in the mesa, and the same words that Brandon wants to hear, that's soft science. It's not hard. You need to bring in new people. That's what I think. Yeah, at night, when I had one tripod up, I have about 4 heavy duty tripods I put up, and our crew goes up. We just kind of sit there, and we don't walk around. We might look up at the camera and make sure it's still recording, but yeah, you make sure you don't trip over a tripod with a $4,000 piece of equipment on top of it or higher. So yeah, nobody should touch other people's shit. So yeah, that happened to Sedona. Let's just skip through this real quick. Let's set up at 6. Get there before the sun goes down. And I was kind of leaving this to run. So kind of go forward through this a bit. But Chad, he shows up when it's dark out. I don't know if I haven't had time to watch this. I've been working. It's a lot of work to put a show together with pre-production. I haven't had time to watch this to see if there's any UAP at all. Well, there's a lot of aircraft in here.
So what's your name back there again? Learned all this stuff.
Here, a couple of, let's look at 2 minutes of this end shot. I decided to pack up. I don't know what time Dan and Clive bailed last night. But I want to get some handheld shot. We are looking at the Milky Way here, and it is just freaking unbelievable. I think that's a North Star. That's the brightest one I could find.
There's a lot of people who stargaze out here. Even though I own the park, of course. That would slice their card. This is a license.
I think on the next trip, I'm not going to film the hills. I'm going to point it up here and just let it roll for a couple hours and see what goes by. So coming up will be a challenge of the Luna Optics that films at 2K versus the PVS-7 with the camera adapter that I have. So so I was talking to Clive. This was the camera we had in the chopper, which has a 4K camera on each side. And I think next time, since I think I got it working good, mount this on the bottom of the chopper, and we have 360 video around it. So then that takes even longer to look through, because you have to take it, put like a reframe editor on it. So far, I got to edit this damn thing on the phone because the Windows software for GoPro Player crashes. So you edit this and you look, I want to look this direction, then that direction. So this gives you a lot of different directions with these things. Now with the Panasonic, I was filming with a 50 millimeter set lens, so I can't zoom in or out. So I was talking to Clive anyway about getting a camera for the PVS-7. Now, in another episode, and I haven't really done much with this. I still haven't had a honeymoon with this. So I made a tripod mount with this, which is like $2. Put it on a green plate, and then I tried to put this camera mounted behind it. What happened is when you look through this, it takes up your peripheral vision, so you see nothing but night vision. But when I put the camera on there, you just see a circle in a distance, and that's not what I want. I want to zoom in. So another option is I could use this. This is the camera that I've used. These are like almost throwaway. I've given these things away. There's a couple $100. Use this and zoom in on the picture. That's another one. Eyepiece projection. Another one is to take my Panasonic and move it up there. Now, I didn't try the cheap camera yet, but the other ones I tried, I wasn't happy with. So I was looking at different cameras, and I was talking to Clive in a call earlier this week, and I mentioned this Droid camera right here. So this is a camera right here that I have inside the Black Imperial R2Q5. And this is wireless, and it has an SD card, and this you can see remotely on your phone, but it also records to this device. So I was saying I can make a homebrew adapter myself. And I think this is just HD. Now I've had this for at least 15 years. And it's been sitting, it's just, I have so much stuff, it becomes junk sitting around. So this arrives a few hours ago. And I'm like, it's the same goddamn thing. So this arrives, and this is a PVS-7 camera. So right there is the same thing. But when you clip it on, it does not go up to the exact center of frame. I haven't tested it yet. I just got here in the daytime. It's a little bit low. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to test it. And if it's too low, I'm going to see if I can somehow pull this up higher to get it in the center frame. Now, if that don't work, since this is a 4K Skywatching podcast and anything's possible here, I will try this one. And I'll 3D print or make my own clip-on ring, which can easily be made, if you think about it, by finding, this looks like it's about 1 5/8 inches. So you get a pipe about that big, you slice it, then you cut the top off, and it'll have a little bit of spring to it. So you could easily make your own thing, or I could just design one. I do everything, and 3D print it. So this is coming. This camera is going to be coming to, it's in the family now. It just needs to be hooked up and working. So this is going to be future episodes of 4K Skywatching is going to have PVS-7 footage. Fortunately, it's HD, but we can bump that into 4K. So there is going to be a comparison coming up. Kind of wanted to do it last night, but I didn't have the camera of this camera versus this camera. It's getting phased out. That is a future episode of 4K Skywatching. Which one's better? Can the PVS-7 outdo the Luna Optics? Now, I have a Luna Optics maybe like 6 years old. The newer ones now, they have in 4K. So these are really goddamn good recording solutions. They're around $1,000 a piece, but we'll record stuff. Like everything was pointing at last night, the Luna Optics, I knew it was picking up stuff. We can't see none of it with the naked eye. So you have to wait till later. Now, Clive, I was talking to him earlier. Clive Christopher's filmmaker here, lives in the Valley. And he caught two interesting objects last night. One object he looks at, I've seen, I'm hoping he sends a clip over, is a tube of light. So you remember about 2 episodes back when I caught this tube, I thought it was a meteor at first, and I looked at it, was caught on 5 different cameras. It was a tube of light moving at, meteor speed, thousands of miles an hour. Clive caught one of these too in a few sections. I need to blow that up, take a look at that. He caught something else that looks kind of like a comet. And Dan's picked up a few weird things too. So that was last night. We just got done, so we haven't had really time to sit here and synthesize and look at all the footage. After this show, I'm going to upload that entire 2-hour clip. When you look at it, if it's crap, I'll delete it. We'll go on to the next Skywatch. Yeah, thanks. That's money the nursing home isn't going to get. Now, and I'm old, and and shit, and they say, well, we need to take your life savings and turn it over to a nursing home and sign over the title of your house, your droids, and your arcade. Fuck that. I already spent that money. I'll die on the street with this camera, and they can take it from my cold, dead motherfucking hands. Speaking of Mario, let's look at the clip he sent over. He's got a lot of good stuff. He's out hunting. And Mario was on the show last time. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to look at some of the clips that we had last time and stabilize them. Like that night clip, that's real good. I don't want to really do a lot of work on videos I downloaded from YouTube because you can get better resolution off the original version of it, whatever his digital capture is. All right, well, this is your go-to place for real UFO footage. And now let's take a treat. This would be a treat. More Mario Vallejo footage from San Antonio, Texas. He is an excellent skywatcher. Glad to call him a friend of mine. Check this out. There's going to be a lot of clips here, but all it takes is one of them to be a UFO. One of them, right? One of these is.
X-ray beat.
There's a hockey puck. Or Venus. Or Venus. Oh, that's not Venus.
Awesome. This is an orb.
It looks a lot like what we're seeing flying through this canyon here in Arizona.
luxury beef.
All right, that was a clip provided by Mario Vallejo, and those are his captures. He has got some stuff moving really fast, quite a few clips in there. Finding them through the infrared, which is again what this is doing here is these older cameras that we had, these ones that had night shot. You put a 950 nanometer infrared filter on it, turn night shot on in the daytime. These are dark filters, and put this on. I'm thinking, Dan, maybe we need one of these on a future helicopter trip. Point down with that Cameron green and infrared, and maybe we'll get like more and more of these things. That's real interesting. So tonight, we did something that you never see anywhere else. We showed you fresh footage, right? Straight off a helicopter. Who the hell does that? Nobody, right? If you see it anywhere else, if you can see it, it's from 9 months ago. We looked at Sedona footage and a little bit of that. I got to parse through that. That's going to get uploaded as soon as this is over. So TrueSeeker or whoever has access to that area, it's all time stamped, so you can look through it at your leisure. If you see anything, just write down the time stamp and then send them over to me, and I can pull it off, give you credit for looking at that. It is good to be in a spot where we have so much UAP material and footage that we can't look through it all. We need the help from the public. So that's how you can help. Our weather has dropped here. It's in the 80s, probably going to drop down to 60 soon. So this is our good time of the year here in Arizona. So if you're stuck in other states, you can't Skywatch, you live in a homeowners association, just whatever the reasons, you can help here on this channel by looking through material. Now, yeah, Dan may or may not have snuck in there. Okay, you bailed at 9:30, so you guys, that was about an hour behind me. But you guys live in North Phoenix, so I got an extra 40 minutes of drive to get down the channel. But I love it, man. It was my day off, and I'm work from home, so you're stuck in the house and in this place all the time. So it's nice to get the hell out of here and go on the road and go mobile. So I have all the gear I pretty much need. It's weatherproof on the roof, and the only things I'm really collecting are kind of new gear to take out on the road with us. So I'm at the point now. Yes, this will be uploaded after the show. I don't fuck around. I'm at the point now, if there's a good spot with a researcher that will come forward and not just here's some footage anonymously. I will fly out to your location and investigate it on the spot. You probably can't get George Knapp. Probably can't get Ross. They're busy. You're not going to get Jeremy unless you're in the military and thermal footage, right? And or you can maybe get Stephen Greer out if you pay him. Or just call me if you have real good footage. I'm willing to fly out there. So if this New Jersey thing were to happen now, I'd head out there with my gear. But I'm just not convinced there's some there yet with New Jersey. So let's wrap this up. ABS material prints hot, a little bit melty, but you can sand it when you're done. You can't sand PLA. I've printed, I still have them, some of those R2 domes, and I have a 12-inch by 12-inch by 24-inch 3D printer. It's a Raise 3D, and it kind of sucks. I printed so much stuff that has problems, but anyway, I printed entire domes for these droids out of PLA, and I took them to an event where we had like 50 of these R2D2s, and fucking thing warped in the sun. So I said, screw that. I'm a ABS guy. ABS doesn't melt for 3D printed tips there. Okay. Yeah, Space Out Radio is a cool place. So I'm going to wrap this up. This was episode 41. It was a helicopter show. I know people like footage shows with nothing but footage, but it is what it is. I don't have any idea what is going to go on next week. I'm sure we're going to do another field look thing. I'm going to work with this and the PVS 7 and try and do that. I'm taking a week off sometime around Thanksgiving, so I'm going to be doing some more traveling during that time. Probably going to do another trip up to Sedona. We are going up there a lot. Because there's activity up there, and we're filming for like a docu-series. So what we're filming is getting collected. It's going to be edited. I might do an edit. I know Clive is. Dan has been offered to edit too, so Dan can direct his own show. He's got his own thing going on, which is great. So we're all going to direct a different episode. And over time, once we got enough material to edit together, it'd probably end up, I think, from what I'm hearing, Amazon Prime. If not, Clive's got all kinds of deals with Apple TV, Tubi. So most of what we do ends up sooner or later on TV, but we can get it here on the web first. So let me just run down a few cameras, see what's going on, if anything. Got some aircraft flying around. The radar camera up. I need to pull that down tomorrow and do a little bit of maintenance on that. This has been another fun 4K Skywatch. It takes a lot to put into a show. Try and do this. Try and put together all this footage, edit it, and do this week after week after week. Travel and work 40, 50 hours a week in a full-time job. It is not easy. So, thanks for coming out. I am Tom King. This is the 4K Skywatching Podcast. Appreciate the audience participating and watching. We will see you next time on episode 41 of 4K Skywatching. Thanks for watching.